Hey, Aaron, welcome to Fight Week. How do you come in and manage, the chaos that has ensued as you try to start off this 2024 on the right foot?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is just to go out there and do my job for Saturday. Um, it's been a kind of a weird week, given the fact that I thought I was gonna fight Braga, but I got the call on Monday saying that it had been changed. I'm just happy and fortunate that PFL and Bellator got me an opponent. So I'm happy. Everything is good. My weight is good, and I just, like I said, do my job on Saturday.
I think everyone's obviously very excited to have you on the card. I think that was a big marquee for everyone. So coming in, when you look at this event and how it's being billed, I've asked this question previously to others as well. Where are you coming in mind-wise after this event? Because obviously it's one fight at a time, but what would this fight do for you? Is it chasing belts? Is it crossovers? Is it the PFL tournament? Where are you looking at?
Of course, my whole objective in this game is to become a world champion, and I've got to be prepared to fight everybody. Yeah, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter, like I said, what organization that I'm in. I'm trying to have that belt wrapped around my waist. So a win on Saturday night definitely won't hurt me. I think I'm going to be in a good position for the big fights coming up. But yeah, we'll have to see. But we all know what my goal is, and I'm just focused on that.
Last one for me, and thank you for the time. Obviously, as someone who has gone through basically a roller coaster so far in his career, where do you feel you're at coming into this year, having so much attention on the PFL and Bellator merger, and what it can do for you and your career in that pursuit of championship gold?
Well, I think I'm where I need to be. Of course, like you said, there has been a roller coaster of a career for me, but at the end of the day, I look back on those losses and the lessons I learned. I was just a young kid, especially when I fought Henry Corrales. I just didn't really have a clue, if I'm being completely honest with you. I look back on the pictures of the photo shoot that I had before the fight, and then I look at the photos that I took on Saturday. My body's different. I look different. Um, but to be a part of the PFL and here in Bellator, I think the people that they have backing them are very motivated and driven people that want to see us fighters do well and want to grow the company and to be a part of that. And I have the same energy. I want to be the best fighter in the world. I want to fight the best guys. So I think the combination of having investors and people behind PFL and Bellator with my energy, I think we're off to do great things, and I'm very honored to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Hi Aaron, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Steve.
I'm good, thanks. You say you're happy to get an opponent on this card. How did you feel when the name on the contract was Henry Corrales, given the history there?
I felt good. I'm not going to put too much emotional value on the opponent, like, oh, I have to do this because he beat me. No, I got to do my job Saturday night, and that's win. It doesn't matter. To be honest with you, he's just a blank face. Of course, I know that he's very, very dangerous, and he poses a big threat. And at the end of the day, he's a game opponent. There was three opponents that they asked. I don't want to mention any names because it's unfair to them to get a call on a couple of days' notice to fight Aaron Pico, who's been in training camp for 2.5 months. Is unfair to say that they declined the fight because they were scared. No, it was just and the fly to Saudi Arabia. It's just very, very difficult. But props to Henry Corrales. He puts his money where his mouth is. He's always said if they need him to fight, he'll be willing to do it. So here we are in Saudi Arabia, about 2 days away from fight night, and I couldn't be happier. I feel really, really good. The fight is at 155, so it gives me some cushion. I don't got to go down to 145, so I'm happy. It feels a little awkward because I'm usually, cutting some good weight coming in fight week, but like I said, I have a little bit of cushion, so I'm enjoying it.
You talked a little bit about the growth you had made since that last fight. What do you think is different about his game since the last time you guys fought?
Um, Well, I think if I'm being just upfront, I don't see any really changes in his game. Um, I mean, my last eight fights, 9 fights can speak for themselves, so I don't really need to go into detail as far as my fighting style. But one thing I can say is that mentally, I've grown. You know, I have a lot more wisdom and as far as inside and outside the cage. Um, you know, the things I used to think about before a fight when I was in my, 20, 22, especially even when I fought Henry. I put it this way. I think when I first fought Henry at the time, I was scared. Um, Now I'm nervous. I think there's a difference between being scared and nervous. Scared, you kind of can do pretty stupid things, especially in a fight. And nervous is just keeps you mentally sharp. You know that you have a tough task at hand, and it helps you assess the situation and make the right decision. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just my mental toughness.
There was some talk from you a couple of months ago that the Olympics were something you were looking at with the uncertainty around PFL and Bellator. Now, obviously, you've had this fight come up pretty soon after the merger. So, where do you see that now? Is that still a goal that's in your mind, or is the mind fully back on MMA now?
No, I think for me, the uncertainty of not knowing when I was going to fight, if it would have been a while, I probably would have tried to make a run at it in the Mexican Olympic team. But shortly after that, my manager called me and said that I was going to fight in Saudi Arabia. So that came to a screeching halt. Of course, I love wrestling. It was a huge um, part of my life, but MMA is what pays the bills, and I love the lifestyle. So I'm back to work for MMA. So I'm happy. I'm this is what I'd rather be doing, but to feel a little bit of nerves and be uncomfortable, why not try to go make an Olympic team and wrestle? I think I'm capable of doing it, to be honest with you. What a lot of people don't realize is that I was, one match away. I was in the finals of Olympic trials at 19, wrestling Frank Molinaro, who was 28, 29 at the time. And I look at the strength that I have now compared to when I was 19. It's just night and day. It's so crazy to think about how I was able to compete at a high level in the men's division at being 18, 19 years old. So I feel I'm better wrestler now than I am back then. So it would have been interesting to take a shot at it.
Thank you, Aaron. Best of luck.
Thank you.
This is Ronald E. Smith. Aaron, you just recently brought up about how you difference between scared and nervous. How did you realize that? How did you realize that for yourself? Did anyone help you with it? Or did that just come all from you?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, I talk to my coaches a lot. I have good friends who I can really express my feelings with as far as before a fight. Coach Gibson, Coach Greg is really good, and I think it just comes with time. I mean, you never really be um, you're never really not nervous, especially in fighting, because you know what you're about to go to. What you're about to do is pretty brutal. But one thing that Greg always says is not too high, not too low. And actually, Coach Gibson I was just saying, I start to think about the fight and my heart starts racing. And this was just a few minutes ago. He said, well, just take a big deep breath and just relax. And, I just try to do the, breathing and the confidence that I have from my training. I can be okay with going into a fight because I put in so much work. So I think it just comes with time. I mean I'm still learning. I mean I still don't get me wrong. Of course you have a little bit of um uh, you're a little scared, of course, but it doesn't eat me up like it used to. So I think it just comes with time, and we're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Aaron, nice to meet you, my man. I wanted to know, I know you used to train with John Jones, Tony Ferguson. I want to know what's the biggest lesson you learned from them outside of fighting?
Well, To be honest with you, I only trained one time with Tony Ferguson, so there wasn't really much that I took away from it. You know, he came into the gym, did a few sessions with my coach that I didn't really wasn't really a part of. But with John, I think for him is that I take away is that how much he's a student of the game and how much he studies. You know, how much he reviews notes and things like that. Um, that's the biggest thing for me is how much he studies his fights and his fighters and all kinds of stuff. I think everybody has a little bit of different training techniques and as far as because you know everybody's just different. But to answer your question, that's what I take away from John Jones.
Awesome. And one more completely unrelated. I saw you went to Morocco or at the end of 2023. I was wondering why'd you go there and seemed like you loved it. So could you tell me more about it?
Yeah, I love Morocco. It's a place I go. I have a lot of great friends there, and I spend as much time as I can when I'm there. It's just a great culture, uh, just beautiful people, and just like I said, the culture is beautiful, and the food is excellent. I actually did a week of training out in Morocco before this. Like I said, I have very good friends, and it feels like home away from home. So anytime I'm able to go, I'm always there. And if anybody's never been there, I recommend traveling there. It's just it's a beautiful place, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it.
Awesome. Thank you, my man.
Hey Aaron, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Cash. How are you?
I'm great, man. You come from an outstanding wrestling background. Each fight you've shown you also have the ability to strike with anyone. How do you plan to showcase your skills and dominate this fight?
Well, I think I just gotta let the fight unfold. Um, like Carlos Condit tells me because I've told him before, you know, the first couple minutes is always the most difficult for me, and, you know, and he always says one thing he used to always think of in a fight is just let the fog settle. You know, when you let the fog settle, everything else will, you know, you'll find your way. And I think that's what I need to do in this fight is just let the fog settle and not rush anything. Especially with this fight, the last time we fought, I mean, I knocked him down in the first 30 seconds. I should have just relaxed. I should have just taken him down, beaten him up a few times, should have, would have, could have. But, you know, obviously it is what it is. But now I'm more aware of what I need to do. And I think it just settle down and the victory will be ours.
Definitely. Good luck to you this fight.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Hey, Aaron. You had a pretty decided shift in your career once you joined Jackson Wink, and I'm just kind of curious. You know, what was some of the biggest changes that you felt when you came over there, and you have affected your career?
At the end of the day, I think a lot of people ask me, "Oh, what is it? What is it about the coaches or this or that?" But to be honest with you, I just think Greg Jackson and Brandon are great coaches. I just can't explain it. They're just some people are just great at what they do, and it's just that simple for me. I really believe in their program. I believe in their codes and their philosophy on fighting, and it just works for me. There's not one thing. I think it's just a mindset that I really took a liking to, and it's helped me out a lot.
And I know during your wrestling career, you got to compete all over the world, a lot of the Eastern Bloc countries, Cuba. I mean, you've been pretty much a world traveler, but majority of your Bellator fights have been domestic, other than your last one out in Dublin. Can you just talk a little bit about what it means to be back internationally competing, and maybe talk a little bit about what it's been like out at Riyadh season?
I love traveling. I've traveled from a young age. I think that's one thing my parents always preached to me, especially my dad, is that you need to travel the world. You need to see different cultures, different religions. It just will help you as a person, and that's an education in itself. So I think a lot of people don't know that from like 14 to 19, I you know, was basically just wrestling all over the world. I did school online and traveled all throughout Europe and Russia, and I'm so happy I did because I have friends everywhere, and my mindset on life and is just I have an open mind. That's like I said, that my parents were very. I was very fortunate that my parents who had the um were willing to let me do that because I was young at the time, and I'm biggest blessing that they gave me was the okay to travel. And here in Riyadh, it's been nothing but great. The people have treated us very, very well, and anything that we needed, everything has been good. I look forward to fighting here in Riyadh. I think it's going to be a great night. The people here seem very, very excited and motivated to grow this sport here and all over the world. So, and one thing I can say is that the fighters that are fighting on the card are all really, really great athletes and are going to put on a great show. And the MMA community, I feel, is going to be very impressed with the card. I hope if we all do our job, I think there's going to be a lot of people tuning in. So I'm just very, very honored to be a part of it, and something I will remember forever, and get to tell my son that I got to fight in Saudi Arabia, and God willing, we get the victory. And yeah, it's going to be something I'll remember forever.
Yeah, and last one for me, Aaron. In your freestyle career, I mean, you've competed against some of the best people in the world coming up, and even though it was an amateur, there were some of those people went on to be top level competitors. Can you just talk a little bit about how that experience prepared for you for where you are now?
Now looking back on my career in wrestling, I put so much pressure on myself from an early age, is that I had to win. I had to win and to be a world champion senior world champion when I was, 18, 19, and I did very, very well. But the biggest thing that I took away from my wrestling career, especially towards the end, is just now I'm thinking now is just I should have just, slowed down and not just let my body develop, uh, you, with age and time, you just get stronger, you get mentally more aware. But I'm so thankful for wrestling and what it's taught me. It's it was uh, it was a good time in my life. It got me where I needed to be, and here in MMA, it's the best thing I base for fighting. So I'm very thankful for that. And I just think the memories that I will remember forever because of wrestling, and good times I've had with my family and my parents, and going to wrestling tournaments as a youth were all good moments for me in my life. But that was a good chapter. But that chapter is closed, and then now I want to become a world champion in MMA, and I'll forever be grateful for wrestling, because I'm sure it's going to save me in some fights in the future.
Great. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.